Courtroom testimony of the Sean Diddy Coleman's trial, as reported by Inner City Press. When Sylvester Stallone entered the courtroom, no one expected what he was about to say. The Hollywood legend, known for his iconic roles as Rocky Balboa and John Rambo, brought a bombshell revelation that would not only deepen the case against Diddy, but also point fingers at some of the biggest names in the entertainment industry. In a trial already fraught with allegations, Stallone's account of a chilling moment he witnessed at one of Diddy's own parties, and the broader network of complicity he exposed, left the jury, the prosecution, and the spectators in stunned silence. The clerk's voice rang out first. "Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you?" God Stallone's growly voice, familiar to millions, answered with a firm resolve. "I do. I'm here to tell the truth, no matter who it implicates." Assistant U.S. Attorney Sarah Anua, leading the prosecution, began her questioning with a steady tone, her eyes fixed on Stallone. "Mr. Stallone, can you confirm whether you've had any professional or social interactions with the defendant?" Mr. Sean Combs Stallone's voice was steady, his words measured. "Yes, I have. I've run into Mr. Combs at various industry events over the years, premieres, galas, after parties, Hollywood, and the music world overlap more than people think. I've known him socially since the late 90s, though we were never close," and tone remained focused as she moved to the heart of her questioning. "Mr. Stallone, can you describe a specific incident involving the defendant that you believe is relevant to this case?"
Always gotta have a mag.
Stallone took a deep breath, his voice lowering slightly as he began to recount the memory. "I can. It was in 2010 at a high-profile party arranged by Mr. Combs himself in Los Angeles. It was one of those events where everyone who's anyone shows up. Big names, bright lights, the whole deal. I was there mingling with some industry folks when I noticed Mr. Combs talking to a young woman. She was beautiful, probably in her early 20s, just starting out in her career. I could tell by the way she carried herself, eager but nervous." Guan's voice sharpened, sensing the importance of what was coming. "What did you overhear, Mr. Stallone?" Stallone's tone grew more intense,
Everything okay?
his words deliberate. "Mr. Combs was talking to her in a low voice, but I was close enough to hear every word he said. 'You'll do what I say, or you're done in this town. I made you, and I can break you.' The young woman reacted angrily. She raised her voice, saying, "I don't want to do it. I didn't sign up for this." That got the attention of a few of us nearby. Maybe she was angry, but she was also scared. Juan nodded, her expression serious. "Mr. Stallone, you mentioned you initially thought the situation had resolved itself. Can you explain why you now believe it was more significant?" Stallone's voice softened, his words laced with regret. "I thought it was a one-off, a moment that settled down when Mr. Combs laughed it off. Me and the others who
Hey, what's up?
we figured it was done.
No problem, it's on its way.
He excused himself or made it right with her. But now looking back, I realize it wasn't the case. That wasn't the only time Mr. Combs did something like that. There must have been many cases, some of much greater intensity. We've seen it in this trial with Cassie Ventura. With others, that scene at the party, it got the attention of a few of us, but it wasn't just a one-time thing. I can see that now." Gowen's voice grew more pointed as she shifted her focus. "Mr. Stallone, you mentioned hearing about the allegations in this trial. How did that affect your decision to come forward?" Stallone's tone grew somber, his words heavy with guilt. Hearing Cassie's story, Wendy Williams' story, it opened my eyes. I've got daughters of my own. I can't imagine what these women went through, what that young woman at the party went through. I've spent my career playing heroes, but I didn't do enough back then. I should have spoken up, should have checked on her. I'm here now because I owe it to them, to Cassie, to all the victims, to help get justice." Juan's tone sharpened as she continued. "Mr. Stallone, you mentioned that this incident was part of a broader pattern. Did you ever witness other influential figures in the industry who were aware of or involved in similar behavior, who might have enabled the defendant's actions?" Stallone took a deep breath, his voice steady, but charged with intensity. "Yes, I did. Mr. Combs didn't operate in a vacuum. There were others, bigger fish, who knew what was happening, who helped create the environment that let him get away with it. One of them was Clive Davis." The courtroom fell silent, the mention of Davis's name sending a ripple through the spectators. Goyan's voice sharpened as she pressed further. "Mr. Stallone, can you elaborate on what you observed about Mr. Davis and his connection to the defendant?" Stallone's tone grew more serious, his words deliberate. "Clive Davis, everyone knows him. One of the most powerful men in music. I've known him socially for years, seen him at events parties. In the late 90s, I was at one of his Grammy parties, those big extravagant ones he's famous for. Mr. Combs was there, and I saw them together, talking closely, almost like Davis was mentoring him. Davis had this way about him, always in control, always the one calling the shots. I saw Mr. Combs watching him, learning from him." Juan's voice remained focused as she probed deeper. "What did you observe about their interaction that stood out to you?" Stallone's voice took on a note of concern, his words measured. "There were young artists at that party, kids just starting out, and I overheard Davis telling one of them to stick around after the party for a private meeting. The way he said it, it didn't feel right. Mr. Combs was right there, nodding along like he was taking notes. I later heard rumors that Davis used alcohol, drugs, whatever it took to keep artists in line to control them. And I believe that's where Mr. Combs got some of his playbook, using power to manipulate people, especially the young ones." Luan nodded her tone, probing Mr. Stallone. "You mentioned hearing rumors about Mr. Davis. Can you elaborate on what you heard about his practices and how they might relate to the defendant's actions?" Stallone's voice grew more intense, his words heavy with concern. "I've heard from people in the industry, producers, managers, artists. that Davis wasn't just a mentor to Mr. Colmes in business. They said he taught him how to keep people in line, how to use parties, drugs, alcohol to manipulate talent. I heard stories that Davis was involved in darker things, exploiting artists, controlling them in ways that went beyond music. Some even said he played a role in the downfall of people like Whitney Houston, and he knew about the kinds of things Mr. Colmes is accused of. Here, the freak-offs, the trafficking, didn't do anything to stop it. I saw enough to believe Mr. Colmes was following in his footsteps. Reynolds stood quickly, his objection sharp. Objection, Your Honor, hearsay and speculation. The witness is relying on rumors and assumptions about individuals not on trial here. This is irrelevant and prejudicial. Countered swiftly, her tone firm. Your Honor, Mr. Stallone is testifying to his direct observations of the defendant's interactions with Mr. Davis, as well as industry knowledge that establishes a pattern of behavior relevant to the racketeering charge. This speaks to the broader network that enabled the defendant's alleged actions. Judge Carter's ruling was clear. Overruled. Mr. Stallone, you may continue, but please focus on what you directly observed or heard, not on rumors, unless you can attribute them to a specific source. Stallone nodded, his voice steady as he resumed. Thank you, Your Honor. I'll stick to what I saw and heard. At another one of Davis's events, around 2012, I saw Mr. Combs with a young artist, Justin Bieber. Actually, Bieber was just a kid, then barely 18, and Mr. Combs had him under his wing. I heard Mr. Combs say to him, "You've got to learn how to play the game, kid. Stick with me and Clive. We'll show you how it's done." It sounded a lot like what I'd heard in 2010 with that young woman. And knowing what I know now about the freak-offs, about the coercion, I think Mr. Colmes learned that kind of control from Davis. Leanne's voice sharpened as she continued. Mr. Stallone, you mentioned seeing Mr. Davis and Mr. Colmes together at parties. Did you ever hear anything about their relationship that might suggest a deeper connection? Stallone's response was careful, his tone measured. I heard whispers at the time that there was more to their relationship than just business. People said Davis and Mr. Colmes were closer than most, knew maybe even romantically involved. I don't know if that's true, but I do know Davis was at a lot of Mr. Colmes's parties, and he never seemed surprised by what was going on. He'd just smile, sip his drink, and keep talking to the next big star. That always stuck with me. Reynolds stood again, his objection forceful. Objection, Your Honor, this is pure speculation and hearsay. The witness is making inflammatory claims about a personal relationship with no evidence, and it's irrelevant to the charges against Mr. Colmes. Juan countered swiftly. Your Honor, the testimony establishes the defendant's connections to influential figures who may have enabled or influenced his alleged criminal behavior. It's relevant to the racketeering charge, which required showing a coordinated enterprise. Judge Carter's ruling was firm sustained, in part Mr. Stallone. You may testify to what you observed at these events, but speculation about personal relationships or unverified rumors will be stricken from the record. Proceed. Ms. N11 nodded, her voice steady as she shifted her focus. Mr. Stallone, you've mentioned Mr. Davis as a significant influence on the defendant. Were there other industry figures you believe were part of this network? Stallone's voice rose with conviction, his words cutting through the tension. Yes, there were Beyoncé for one. I saw her at several of Mr. Colmes' parties in the early 2000s, back when she was with Destiny's Child and just starting her solo career. One of those parties, I think it was around 2003 in New York. I saw her there, and I know for a fact a freak-off happened that night. I didn't go into the room, but I heard the whispers, saw the girls coming out. looking shaken. Beyonce was in the main room, laughing, dancing, like nothing was wrong. She had to know what was going on. Everyone did, but she didn't say a word. The courtroom erupted in gasps, the mention of Beyonce's name sending shock waves through the spectators. Diddy's face remained impassive, but his attorneys exchanged hurried whispers, sensing the escalating stakes. Leon's tone remained calm, but pointed as she pressed further. Mr. Stallone, are you saying Beyonce was directly involved in these activities? Stallone's response was careful, his voice steady. I'm not saying I saw her in those rooms, but I'm saying she was there. She saw the same things I did, and she didn't do anything about it. She was already a star by then. She had power influence. If someone like her had spoken up,
It would have stopped. It would have stopped. It would have stopped. If someone like her was spoken up, it would have stopped. But it stopped. But it wasn't finished. Y'all, oh shit. That was it. Wow. I call that no bullshit. No bullshit. Now, what y'all mean?